Thank you, Kelly. The wait is over. It's been the longest gap by an English side in the Champions League. But after 20 years and 184 days, Newcastle United are back in the Champions League. There was the anthem, and here we are at this iconic stadium, Stadio San Siro, where the supporters have just formed a mosaic in the famous red, white and black, and now they're waving their little banners in the air in the two tiers away to our right, straight in front of us, which is the only two-tiered section of this stand. A little bit of a gap so we can see the clear blue skies above the, or underneath the red iron girders, and then all the way to our left. And then in that third tier, high up in the gods away towards our left-hand side, are the 7,000 Newcastle supporters. Many of them in the black and white striped shirts that have been travelling through the various airports to get here to Milan. Some of them are indeed bare-chested, as are indeed the Milan Ultras away towards our right, because it is extremely hot evening here in Milan. After the storms of yesterday, it's been about 26 degrees today. The sun is still shining, and it is a lively atmosphere to match the hot conditions, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, each time you come here, you think, will this be the last time? There are always those stories about they're going to close it down and make a new stadium elsewhere. But it still looks great every single last time, and there's been a few of them. Not just the numbers, the way that the stands are such a fantastic, perfect football atmosphere. The blacks and the red one side, and as you described, the pale pink of the Newcastle fans up to our left.
As many of the Newcastle supporters in the rain, particularly yesterday, enjoyed themselves as Newcastle United are back in the big time. So Newcastle United in their black and white striped shirts and white shorts. Destination Wembley, the Champions League back on 5 Live. Munich tomorrow, later in Manchester, but right now we are live in Milan and we're underway, with Newcastle United playing from left to right as we look against Milan. The Rossoneri in the red and black striped shirts and the black shorts. So Newcastle are attacking from left to right as we look. The Curva Sud, where the Ultras are housed, and the Spanish referee already giving a free kick to Milan. We're also live on BBC Radio Newcastle, so wherever you are in the northeast, good to have you with us taking in our coverage here on BBC Radio 5 Live. And don't forget, BBC Sounds, the app, if you haven't yet downloaded it, is always useful to take us with you wherever you go. But Newcastle United have an opportunity in many ways to lay down a marker. This is the starting 11. Pope in goal, Trippier, Botman, Schär and Byrne, Longstaff, Tonali and Guimaraes, Murphy, Isak and Gordon, the starting 11. And for Milan, Mike Maignan in goal, Calabria, Tomori, Chow and Hernandez, the back four, Loftus-Cheek, Krunic, Pobega, Chukwueze, Giroud and Leao. So certainly the introduction of Chukwueze on the right, combined with Leao on the left, will give them a little bit of cut and thrust, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, definitely want to use the pace of Milan just now, and they know themselves. There's a bit of pressure on them already. It's a home game. You're expected to start off with 3 points if you're going to get through the group. One thing that really jumps out at you, yes, it's Newcastle, but don't half look like Juventus down there, where they've got the white shorts and the white socks and the unusual numbers. Obviously John Murray was going on about this at the weekend. You know, home there's the black and white stripes, so you can't pick out the red.
Yes.
Well, you can pick out these. I bet you're delighted with that, Ian.
I certainly am. Well, in fact, in Italy, they make sure that there is a block on the back of the numbers, and Juventus certainly, you think back to the side of the 80s, would always have the block on the back of the black and white striped shirts, and it's a UEFA edict. And I actually wish that the Premier League would take note as well, because there are a number of clubs that don't do it, and for supporters and the media alike, and for scouts, I know it's a real problem to identify the back of those numbers. So it's good to see as Pope clears away downfield, and then coming back from an offside position is Isak. There's 3 changes that Eddie Howe made, the Murphy one instead of Almiron is the most eye-catching.
Yeah, we were talking to Kelly Cates beforehand about it, and the fact that, you know, I think he's come in and just a little bit of, you know, sense going back in the kind of wing-back area, the midfield area. Give a little bit of cover. You know that there's real quality going forward with Leal, but Theo Hernandez gets forward time and time again as well. So Murphy there with his legs to cover that area is probably the most obvious. Apart from the fact that Tonali, it would have been devastating for him not to turn up and start in this game tonight.
They got a lovely ovation from the Milan supporters in the warm-up as Leao is being tackled by Sean Longstaff. The ball's going to break back to Chow, to Chukwueze now, who's coming forward, making his first start for Milan, the Nigerian international. Now the ball is switched over towards Theo Hernandez. He'll get forward as much as he can on this left-hand side. He'll combine with Leao as the two, and Leao's going to shoot, and it bounces into the ground, and it's saved by Pope. And Leipzig are leading Young Boys by a goal to nil. That's in Manchester City's Group G. It's another of the early kickoffs. Young Boys 0, Leipzig 1 is a latest score. We will be at the Etihad a little later on for Manchester City against Red Star Belgrade. Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. 6 games in the Championship, 5 live final score available on the red button a little later on. But here we are on this early start in San Siro, and it's 0-0, 4 minutes played. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, just what I mentioned earlier on there, Leo. First time he gets the ball, he cuts inside, tries to, you know, find that far corner. He's got a real talent for that. We know he's got great pace. But he loves that one, cutting in from the left-hand side and trying to curl it into the far post. He's already had one sighter, and as I say, that's the reason why you've got those players, you know, long there. You need Longstaff covering over in that area as well.
First time in 21 seasons that Newcastle United are back in the Champions League. First time in 10 years that they're competing at European football again. Trippier, the most experienced when it comes to Champions League football, plays the ball into Isak. Nice turn, side onto goal outside the D. Gordon, 6 yards outside the penalty area, forced infield. Trippier gets forward, right corner of the area. Trippier sends in a good ball to Mori, forced to head it away. Drops, Pabega's head is going to run on a side angle, and it goes out for a Newcastle throw.
I love the way Trippier started this game. Every time he gets a chance, he wants to get it forward. He's saying to Leal, "You going to come with me? Yeah, you're going to go and attack me a few times. I'm not going to sit and wait for you." And he constantly gets forward.
Kieran Trippier, who celebrates his birthday today, 33 years of age. Wished him a happy birthday when we bumped into each other at Hampden last week as Tonali against his former clubs makes a surging run. That's a cutback as well from that left-hand side, but it had gone out of play, and it will be a goal kick. But he's still going strong, and his influence as well. If you watch the documentary about Newcastle United, which has been broadcast recently, he's extremely vocal in the dressing room, and I know that Gareth Southgate sees those leadership qualities in him too.
Yeah, and you can tell just by the way some players play. And he knows that he's up against, well, I was going to say the danger man. You know, Olivier Giroud is the guy who's scoring most of the goals. But most of his goals so far this season have been penalty kicks from Olivier Giroud, but you still have to score them. But yeah, certainly Leal. If Trippier can A, keep him quiet, and B, run off him, because Leal's not great at chasing back. That's a real one area of his game that either he doesn't want to do or has been told not to do. And Trippier knows that.
Maignan, all in green away to our right, plays it out to this near side. Hernandez will make a diagonal run, and he runs away from Isak, and he runs away from Murphy, and then to the left of the centre circle he lays it out towards Leao, and Hernandez has bombed on ahead of Leao. This is where they are a danger. Longstaff comes across, Spanish referee gives a free kick, but he's not going to take any action against Sean Longstaff, but it will be a free kick to the home side, and it's 0-0.
Anyone told Hernandez where he's playing? He's supposed to be left back. It's going to take 4 players on in the centre of midfield there. Then hammering one in an underlap, ended up in the outside left position. No lack of energy from Hernandez.
Chukwueze, I mean, they've invested that money. Recruitment's actually been quite good from Milan. That Tonali, that obviously went to Newcastle United, most expensive Italian footballer after that move from Milan. Dark-haired midfielder, talking with a lot of emotion in the press conference here in San Siro last night with Sandro Tonali. But Pulisic, Loftus-Cheek, Chukwueze arriving from Villarreal, Musa from Valencia too. Up until the weekend, they'd actually made a good start to Serie A. Their opening 3 games had been won until they lost 5-1. And for probably 10 minutes, Inter were the dominant side. 10 minutes in the second half when Milan rallied, but apart from that, they weren't in it. And for the first time in their 115-year history, when the two Milan sides have been playing against each other, it's the first occasion that one of them has won 5 successive games. So they're playing second fiddle as the ball's over the top towards Murphy. Only 4 minutes of football. He's having his shirt pulled there by Hernandez. He complains. Spanish referee waves it away.
I think it's Spanish referee's ball that slightly. You could see it, I could see it. I mean, we're a long way away from it. The referee is on a line with it. He's only about 20 yards away. He knows that Murphy was getting dragged back with his shirt there. He didn't want to make the big call. That's not a good sign. The referee early on in a game like this, that was a definite foul.
Jose Maria Sanchez from Spain. Cesar Soto Grado is the VAR official, also from España. Chukwueze to Giroud, holds it up, Loftus-Cheek runs forward, the former Chelsea player on that right hand side. Chukwueze's offside. That's disappointing. You'd have thought that he's got an opportunity to look across the line, and he's triggered the offside flag. Free kick to Newcastle United, 0-0, 9 minutes played.
He got himself in a really good position there, and it was all because of Giroud. You know how good Giroud is at holding the ball up. I mean, it's just effortless for him. I mean, he's not the quickest anymore, but it never was really the quickest football you've ever seen. You give him chances, particularly the front post, off from the penalty spot. I'm sure you've watched all his games this season. His penalties have been a joy to watch. He is so relaxed. He makes Jorginho look panicky. He's been fantastic.
Here is Pope with a free kick. Downfield, Byrne is forward over on that far side, the left. Nick Pope, 10 years ago, he was about to join Aldershot, playing in the conference from Charlton. Hadn't actually made an appearance for Aldershot at this stage 10 years ago, but that's where his next career move was, and the England international now in San Siro as Newcastle United. Last appearance in European competition was under Alan Pardew against Benfica in 2013 in the Europa League quarter-final. Never played against Milan. It's the first competitive meeting between the two, although Newcastle have played twice here before against Inter. The Fairs Cup tie in 1970, and then a 2-2 draw in the Champions League 20 years ago, where a certain Alan Shearer scored 2 goals. Gordon, left-hand side, away from Calabria, on the outside with a cutback, and there is Krunic on the edge of his 6-yard area, and then plays the ball out to Hernandez. Hernandez goes to ground far too easily. The referee will give a free kick, but again, Sean Longstaff, no action taken. However, that is now 2 free kicks that Longstaff has given away.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Hernandez had thrown himself to the ground before the tackle had even been made. So maybe I'm with the referee slightly in that one, but you know, sometimes in the Premier League you'd look at that and wonder if Longstaff would get the yellow card. Just before that, really interesting few seconds, Gordon got the ball and did what any quick wide time player should do. He just pinned his ears back, hit the ball beyond the defender and said, "Are you quicker than me?" Answer, no. Absolutely not. Which is great news for Anthony Gordon.
Trippier on the cover, finds Tonali. He's been dispossessed. Loftus-Cheek using his physical presence well. Chukwueze now coming in field. Interception though from Longstaff. He looked for Pobega, who's been brought into the Milan side to offer a little bit more physicality in the Milan midfield, and in fact he uses that there, and he fouls Murphy, who has a little tumble, almost rolls into the bald-headed Stefano Pioli, the Milan coach, and it'll be a Newcastle free kick. And we've been playing for 12 minutes on 5 Live, BBC Sounds and Radio Newcastle, and it remains 0-0. Pat Nevin.
It's just a little bit of shame there from Murphy. He gets the ball and not one single teammate made a run for him. Now, you know, Isak isn't as all, you know, constantly running the way, you know, number of other players in the team, you know, specifically Wilson would make a run for him. But he was on his own there with a quarter of the field to play with. He actually done very, very well to get a free kick out of it.
Oh, that was almost a loose ball by Gordon. It was well read by Botman. It's been picked up now by Krunic. He now finds Pobega, sits up nicely for him, hits it left-footed, Pope makes the save. Smartly down to his right-hand side, picked up by Leao, left-hand side now, delivers the cross, Chukwueze heads it, Pope again at his near post, makes himself big and manages to get the ball away, but Milan not once but twice threatened Newcastle's goal.
Well, that's the first time they've really stepped on the gas, Milan, and they managed to do it purely because Newcastle switched off, gave the ball away far too easy, didn't get enough players back, particularly in front of the centre backs. Too much space there.
That's the first real danger that either side has created in these opening 13 minutes, and Milan encouraged by that through this man, the Italian international Pobega, fair head, now leaves it for Leao, who really is the danger man. Influential Portuguese international. Loftus-Cheek finds some space in between Byrne, now with a cutback, Trippier there again on the cover inside the penalty area, sweeps it away to safety, but all of a sudden Newcastle are just starting to creak a little bit here as Milan now with Calabria sends over a cross from the right. Pope, rather than catching it, punches it away. Loftus-Cheek tries to keep it alive, Giroud is there, Pope makes the save from Giroud, an outstretched left arm behind for a corner. Newcastle are rocking.
They are rocking, slight panic there. What they could really do with that situation is goalkeeper to don't catch the ball. That punch there, now we all know sometimes keepers like to punch the ball, there was no pace in it, it was just above his head. That is a catch every single day of the week. Tries to punch it away there, his team's under pressure and they're giving away a corner kick.
How much space did Loftus-Cheek get for the initial move?
Too much space.
In between the full-back and the central defenders. Corner kick, right-hand side. It's an outswinger. Goalward header towards Leao, far post. Can't get it goalwards. Keeps it in the air. And then it's away by Newcastle. Tomori, and then Chukwueze goes all the way back. Newcastle United will be glad to get a bit of breathing space in defence.
They need to do something to slow this game down, try and get on the ball. They need either Tonali or Guimaraes to get on the ball. They've hardly had a kick of the ball so far. Try and slow the play down, because right now, under a huge amount of pressure, that's been 4 chances or half chances in the last couple of minutes.
Kieran Trippier heads it away, headed forward by Krunic. He played in 5 different positions for Milan last season, but has essentially started this season as a holding midfielder. Rade Krunic, the Bosnian international. Mike Maignan, frustrating campaign last year, missed 23 games with a calf injury, but the French international sweeps it downfield, headed on by Giroud. Trippier though will get there before Pobega to run the ball out of defence. He stops, he's 6 yards inside the Milan half, and the Newcastle United captain and the right back plays it back, and then Pope will come out of his penalty area. 15 minutes played in San Siro. Milan 0, Newcastle United 0. It's the start of our Champions League coverage, where later on Manchester City against Red Star Belgrade from 8, and then tomorrow we're live in Munich for Bayern against Manchester United.
Ian, we were talking beforehand about the importance of understanding Champions League, what you need to do. Desperate for Newcastle to slow it down. Trippier just did the right thing. Killed the play a little bit, slowed it down, and gave his team a chance to breathe again.
Teo Hernandez with a back pass, actually bypasses Maignan, and then he will clear away untroubled, headed forward though by Byrne to Gordon midway through the Milan half. Byrne then plays the ball forward to Tonali, lets it come across his body, runs towards the corner flag. Tonali then with the cross, cleared by Tomori and picked up by Guimaraes. Hardly mentioned Bruno Guimaraes so far. This is of course where he wants to be. He wants to play in Europe's elite competition, as his name is now being chanted by the Newcastle supporters, some of them still bathing in the weak evening sunshine here in Milan for what has been a glorious day. We've got clear blue skies above the cylinder concrete structures in the corners of San Siro and the red iron girders, the familiar features of this iconic stadium, as the Spanish referee gives a free kick in favour of Newcastle United, goalless.
You know, if you don't watch Isak very often, you could get a little bit fed up with him, you know, because he looks so languid. When it's imperative that he can hold the ball up and help his teammates out, give them a bit of rest, he's not making the runs. However, if you do watch him often enough, you know that he can do something absolutely startling, like very few other players can do. So tonight is a night that he'll want to get at least a half a chance in the final third. So far, he's been very well marshalled.
Yes, he has. Combination of Chow and Tamori. Here is, though, Isak linking up with Tonali. Now Guimaraes, ball inside toward Longstaff. Pabega will put him under a little bit of pressure. Burn at left back, little flick by Gordon, doesn't quite come off. Tonali was ahead of him, instead it goes out of play for a Milan throw. He spoke about how difficult it has been for the start of his Newcastle career last night, Sandro Tonali. He said that how he'd been feeling a little bit lost. He had to try and find himself. He talked to how Eddie Howe, both personally and professionally, and the Newcastle staff have helped him to adjust. He also revealed that his dad is a big Milan supporter, as here is Chukwueze coming forward, and Chukwueze delivers the cross, queuing up. Trippier again, well positioned, heads it away. Krunic tipped over by Pope. That must have moved in the air, because Pope seems to have lost it, and he's just spooned it behind.
You're absolutely right, he must have done, and he wasn't that confident, he went up for it, but get two big hands behind it. Doesn't matter where it goes in that situation, it's not about catching it, it's just about keeping it out. But just again, moments before that, ball to the back post, 2-on-1 on Trippier. But Trippier knew where to go, and he got his head to it. They're overlapping the left hand side, they're doing it the right hand side as well. There's just far too many openings in that Newcastle defensive line so far for any comfort.
Krunic is going to take the corner kick for Milan. It's still 0-0 on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds. In it comes now. Free header from Teo Hernandez down into the ground. I think it struck the goalkeeper and then just goes straight over the crossbar. Hernandez can't believe he hasn't scored.
Do you know what? I've got a slightly better view of it from you. It is a brilliant save. There's a bunch of players in front of him. The keeper throws out almost a punch. He's kneeling, but he punches to his left hand side and manages to get the ball over the crossbar. That's actually an exceptional save.
What's that? 4-5 saves that Pope has already made. Another corner kick for Milan, still goalless. And it comes on this near side, and on this occasion Loftus-Cheek heads it wide. Goal kick. They're saying they're appealing for a corner, but it's a goal kick that has been awarded. Should say as well, the last match that Newcastle played against Italian opposition, it was away from home, was Palermo. It was the 06-07 UEFA Cup campaign, and I was there in Sicily that night. Tim Krul made his debut. He was the fourth choice goalkeeper. Glenn Roeder gave him his debut at 18 years of age. He played an absolute blinder, so much so that he was given a standing ovation in the dressing room for his heroics. And already tonight we've seen Nick Pope pull off a number of fine saves. On that occasion, incidentally, Glenn Roeder was protecting Steve Harper, and we wish Steve all the best as he recovers from a brain hemorrhage, if you're listening, Hearts. Here's Loftus-Cheek, drives over, strong run forward to the edge of the penalty area. But Milan are the team showing the greater threat. 20 minutes played 0-0. Yeah,
without trying to be cheeky. Is that guy Loftus-Cheek in any way related to the Ruben who played for Chelsea? Because he's got the ball in midfield, he's turned, and he did what he didn't do at Chelsea, which is hammer forward and then lash a ball from 20 yards. He always looked a little bit tentative when he went into the final third. You know his goal scoring ratio was awful for Chelsea. Now look at him here, he's getting the ball, and his first thought, he's had the header on goal, he's just had a shot there and it's powered over the top. So he looks like a player who looks freed by moving from West London.
15 goals in 155 appearances for Chelsea. Of course, he did have loan spells at Crystal Palace and Fulham. I know Roy Hodgson was a big fan of his when he was at Selhurst Park.
A lot of those goals were in one season. There was 8, I think, in one season. In the recent years, haven't been good at all.
Gordon to Isak, tied it up by Tamori. But £16 million Milan signed Loftus-Cheek. And Roy, if you're listening to Vive Live, good news that you're going to be back in the dugout at the weekend. I know sometimes he does listen to BBC Radio 5 Live after missing the game at the weekend. But Roy will be back in the dugout this weekend. Incidentally, 7 of the 10 games in the Premier League this weekend will be live on 5 Live, either 5 Live Sports Extra or indeed online, and that on Sunday 5 matches. We'll have all of them for you, including Arsenal Tottenham at 2 on BBC Radio 5 Live, so that's something to look forward to this weekend. But this is the Champions League, where this week we're bringing you 3 games, starting off with this one in San Siro as we approach the midway point of the first half, and it's 0-0. But the greater chances have been created by the home side, whose Stefano Pioli will be pleased how they've responded after that 5-1 mauling against Inter.
Yeah, 2 ways it can go. You can get angry, you can react, and it can lift you, but also it can have a little bit of a dig at your confidence. Certainly they've made those couple of changes, and that sometimes helps the team as well. You feel as if there's a weakness in 1 or 2 areas. And remember the other part of it. Some of the players, Pulisic on the bench tonight, he did a great start for Milan this season, hadn't he? He played really well, he scored quite a few goals, but it hadn't worked for him at the weekend. You know what? See that game? It's the last thing in their players' mind just now. They've got Champions League in their mind.
Newcastle United are yet to create anything so far in this game. Milan have had 8 attempts. Pope has made a number of fine saves as Trippier heads it forward to Longstaff midway through the Milan half. Looks to get away from Pavega. Round the corner, Murphy to Isak, being challenged by Tomori. Tries to give him the slip, but Tomori sticks to his task well. Isak lays it back, then it's switched by Botman to Byrne, far side the left. Jordan gives the ball away. Loftus-Cheek picks it up. Loftus-Cheek tries to go on the outside of Tonali, and Tonali just shrugs him off with a little push, and that was spotted. It'll be a free kick to Milan.
They've done a fantastic job on Gordon. You know, his first run, when he got the ball early on against Calabria, you just thought, oh, he's got him for pace. The problem is you can't do someone for pace when you ain't got the ball, and they've managed him really well. They've also managed Isak really well. Tomori's done some job.
Here is Pavega, the Italian international, inside now to Leao. Forward of the centre circle is Krunic. Newcastle have got everybody back by Isak. And now it's with Chow. Krunic, not fazed by the presence of either Isak or Guimaraes, goes all the way back to Maignan. Little touch there off his left foot, then clears it right-footed downfield over the head of Sven Botman. But in fact, when Newcastle signed him from Lille for £32 million, there was a lot of admirers from Milan. They were interested in signing him as well, but the Dutch international opted for St James's Park as he approaches 50 games for the club. This is game 49 as Guimaraes under pressure from Loftus-Cheek. Back then to the player we've just been talking about, the Newcastle number 4. And now it's with Byrne on that far side. Guimaraes comes short to collect. Newcastle go back. Giroud, not a bad scoring record actually during his time for Arsenal and Chelsea against the black and whites of Newcastle. Eddie Howe though applauds that Newcastle have beaten the press as the ball is played to Trippier. Can come forward on this near side the right. Isak able to turn on the halfway line. Isak now runs forward, finds Murphy right corner of the area, tries to deliver the first time cross. That was blocked by a sliding and a very alert Tomori.
Yeah, and it's come back off Murphy. Murphy gone for a goal kick there, but one of the better moves. Certainly when Newcastle look quite good, it's generally been when Trippier's got the ball and he's played it through. You're talking about Guimaraes there, and I've been at most of Newcastle games this season, and each time afterwards I talk to Newcastle fans and they say, oh, he didn't get enough of the ball, oh, he was being closed in a little bit by 2 men. To be honest, he's just been quiet this season in comparison to, you know, what he's done previously, and also I'd say on top of that, the ability that he's got.
Ball played forward early by Longstaff. It looked for the diagonal run of Gordon to the edge of the area. Calabria, though, the right back, was tucked in on the edge of the area. He came across from that far side and spotted the danger very, very quickly. Here on the Newcastle right, playing from left to right, 0-0. Diagonal ball from Murphy, looking for the run of Longstaff into the inside right channel of the penalty area, and there was Maignan. Now Maignan's berating somebody for not picking up the run of Longstaff.
I think they were all over it. I think the 2 central defenders knew exactly what they were doing because they had the angles covered, and if the ball was played beyond them, it was going to go through to Maignan. They go back to that midfield. Tonali, Guimaraes, they look perfect. They look as if they should be brothers in arms and working together, and the duo, and it almost looks like they're not playing against each other, but certainly not together, as if both would like to be playing roughly the same position and in the same style. They really have to work together that little bit more.
Vega hits the early ball forward. Chukwueze has come into a central area. Longstaff though kicks the ball against him. Chukwueze tries to head it down, but Longstaff with a header to Trippier. It's played back towards Longstaff midway through his own half. That was a push by Vega, not given, spotted by the referee. Milan now have it with Loftus-Cheek 30 yards out from goal. Krunic just behind him, now coming forward. Short diagonal ball towards Hernandez. Vega has stayed out wide on this left-hand side. Great noise inside San Siro. Leao in that central area overruns it. Tonali gets a foot in. Gordon now midway through his own half, leaves it towards Guimaraes, but Guimaraes holds on to it. And Newcastle United, their first intention was to go back rather than forward.
Yeah, when Gordon got the ball, brilliant little dummy, left well for dead, and you think, right, go, take off. But he didn't. He stopped, he went backwards. Now, the first thing he done in the game, I thought, yeah, you've done your man, you've taken him. And that was another chance to go and run at players, commit some players. He didn't do it, and that's really been part of Newcastle's problem, is it? You can't just sit back and hope that it's going to happen. You've got to make it happen a few times as well, and so far they've not done enough of that. Having said that, we're nearly half an hour gone. It's 0-0, and most teams would take that here.
That's the voice, the familiar voice of Pat Nevin on BBC Radio 5 Live. Radio Newcastle are also taking coverage here this evening from San Siro, where they still have the clear blue skies, as Maignan with the goal kick, headed infield by Leao, only as far as Trippier, turns away, and then he was fouled by Giroud. And Giroud puts the thumbs up, acknowledges that to the Spanish referee, and it will be a free kick. But Trippier has now gone and sat down, so he's clearly feeling the effects of that challenge from Giroud. That's the last thing that Newcastle United would want, for their captain to have picked up a knock here through that challenge from Giroud. Eddie Howe's just having a word with Guimaraes.
It's one of those ones that there was nothing nasty in it, and of course Giroud being the individual he is, everyone's dead nice to him. Oh, it's okay, don't worry, don't mind you kicking me. He's so kind of well liked within the game that I don't think it was deliberate there. He just clipped him in the heel, and that can be a little bit achy, those ones.
9 goals in 14 games against Newcastle in his career for the two London clubs. The majority, though, were actually scored for Arsenal rather than Chelsea, as it's still 0-0 here. Hasn't really been too much of a threat in the last few minutes to Nick Pope, away towards our left-hand side, as Isak, referee, almost got in the way. Isak tries to get away from Tomori, who again has stepped out of defence to deal with that threat, and then the Spanish referee gives a free kick for a foul on Gordon by Calabria, the Milan captain, the right back. Free kick for Newcastle United, but not really creating a great deal in open play.
No, but you just look at Isak and what he's got. You look at Gordon and what he's got, particularly in terms of his pace, and you think, yeah, it's there. You can create chances, but you have to get good control of the midfield before you can bring those players in, and that's just not happening enough for Newcastle. Having said that, I would say in the last 5 or 10 minutes it's calmed down a little bit, hasn't it? They've not been under constant pressure in Newcastle, so just building their way into this game now.
Well, Trippier is going to take the free kick. It's in the Milan half. It's about 12 yards inside the Milan half. Milan's back line is on the edge of the area, but it's played short to Tonali, who now chips it in field, and then that is headed away by Loftus-Cheek, and it will run out for a Newcastle throw, level with the penalty area on that far side, the Newcastle left.
I think Milan were absolutely ready for that free kick there. It's one of those ones where you don't hit it in as expected from one end, you just pass it across the field, change the angle and ask a question. But I watched Newcastle doing it the other week, and they've just done it again, and if I spotted them doing it, I'm pretty sure Pioli did as well.
The 6 chances, the 6 saves that Nick Pope has made in the first 20 minutes of the match is actually more in an entire first half of the Champions League for Milan since 2003-2004. However, the good thing from Newcastle's point of view is that they didn't take any of those chances. A share to Murphy, on the overlap is Trippier, right corner of the box, now finds Trippier. Trippier looks for the run of Longstaff, into the penalty area, goes down, and he was looking for that, and the referee had the perfect view inside San Siro and says no penalty.
Yeah, I have to say, looking for it is a perfect description of what we haven't seen a second replay, but he's now out of position.
And Hernandez keeps the ball in play, down on this near side, the left, down towards the corner, banging towards the near post, and Giroud just touches the side netting. Couldn't get his left foot around it as he made that run inside the 6-yard box. Longstaff is still complaining to the referee, who clearly says, leave it. done, move away. However, another chance for Milan at the other end.
Well, the two things, Longstaff, what he does is he basically gets into the box and puts on the brakes and wants something to happen and then falls quite easily. I mean, I suppose now and again you get a penalty for that, but it wasn't deserved. And then the speed of the break, Hernandez was fantastic, left-hand side. We've talked about that from before the start of the game. And is there a player in world football you would rather have at your near post than that man Giroud? I think he is the best in the business, possibly the best I've ever seen. I've been beyond the near post, yet still been able to put it in.
Here is Krunic for Milan, the red and black striped shirts playing from right to left. Couldn't pick out Leao. Longstaff goes square. Now with Guimaraes out towards Tonali. Little flick by Isak was nice. Guimaraes being held back by Loftus-Cheek, who actually recovers and get a foot into the challenge. However, the referee has brought play back for the initial foul by Loftus-Cheek. Free kick to Newcastle.
I know what you're thinking. You were expecting a yellow card there because you get that in Premier League for those little drag backs of the shirt. And there's no complaints about it. There's no throwing and pretending there's any showing any pretend yellow cards. But he's been a bit lenient, this referee, I would suggest.
He certainly has. He's let the game flow on this sultry night in Milan, where it remains 0-0, and we have 12 minutes to go to half-time. Newcastle United with Trippier to take the free kick, right-footed. Maignan comes, punches the ball away, finds Chukwueze to Calabria. Corner his own penalty area now. He lifts it up towards Leao, off his chest, a little flick inside to Pavega in the centre circle, runs it forward to Hernandez, now towards Leao, looking threatening. Leao enters the penalty area, still Leao for Milan. Leao trying to walk it in, trying to backheel it, stumbles, Chukwueze is there, pulls it back, Pavega cleared off the line, comes to the edge of the penalty area, Loftus-Cheek back towards Hernandez. How did Newcastle survive that? Leao really should have scored. Still the threat remains. Loftus-Cheek, can he get the shot away? Pavega gets the shot closed down. Loftus-Cheek has a dig too, and it goes behind for a corner. Frantic stuff, 0-0.
Can I tell any Newcastle fans listening, he's not winding you up, this commentator. It was that incredible there. I have no idea how they didn't, but I can tell you one reason why Milan didn't score is because that man Leao tried to be just too clever. Ball caught slightly behind him, and he tried to try an outrageous little back heel. It wasn't on. Just kicked the ball in the net.
Milan then with a corner, right hand side, it's an outswinger, and the header is going to go off target, and then Pope has opted to punch it rather than let it drop. I can only think that was going to come off a Newcastle head. It would have gone behind for a corner kick. Instead, Milan take the throw quickly on this near side to left. Tomori swings over the cross. Tonali clears though for Newcastle United, only as far as Chow. Well, at the minute there's only one side that looks like scoring, and rather than the black and white, it's the red and black.
Yeah, they've taken a little bit of a rest for about 10 minutes. Newcastle thought they were back in it, but you know, just like I was going to say a quick 1-2, but it's a quick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 they were. It's incredible it didn't go in. Do you think that little back heel flick where he just kicked the ground is probably going to go viral at some point later tonight from Leao if he doesn't score a goal in the meantime?
If there was a Milan TV station that did a version of Too Good, Too Bad, they do on Match of the Day 2 with Mark Chapman on a Sunday night, that would definitely feature as one that was too bad. Young Boys have equalised, incidentally, in Manchester City's Group G. Young Boys 1, Leipzig 1. We will be at the Etihad for the 8 o'clock game for the European champions, Red Star Belgrade, as they begin their defence for the second of our 3 Champions League commentaries this week on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds. But we've got about 10 minutes to go to half-time. It's 0-0, and 35 minutes in, Eddie Howe, I would imagine, would be feeling rather relieved still to be level at this stage, given the chances that Milan have created.
Honestly, watching Thiago Hernandez there, it's like watching amateur dramatics. He knows he's not got the throw in. He knows the referee may have made a mistake, but the shrugging of the shoulders, the holding the ball, he's actually taken it for about 35-40 seconds there. Again, in the Premier League, you ain't getting away with that one, slowing it down, but he knows this referee's been a bit lenient.
Cher finds Longstaff, near side to right, now infield to Murphy. Murphy's short ball towards Tonali. Tonali went to the ground, springs back up to his feet, holds off the challenge of Krunic. Cher now picks out Botman inside the centre circle. Newcastle now have every outfield player in the half away towards our right hand side, still at 0-0. Gordon touches to Guimaraes. Loftus-Cheek is he's all over Guimaraes like a rash, and the referee actually will give that free kick.
Yeah, but do you know, I think Milan will love that. The fact he's been so close to Guimaraes, he's given him no space at all. Do you know, one of the things that's kind of noticeable for the midfield particularly, they're not taking chances. You know, Guimaraes is at his best is when he's taking little flicks through, balls that might go through. None of them are doing it.
Here is Gordon. Gordon brings it under control. Tamori takes it off his toes and runs it back towards Mike Maignan, who now throws the ball out underarm towards Hernandez. They're a real threat down this left-hand side. Hernandez keeps his balance despite the challenge from Murphy. Now plays the ball inside towards Giroud. Lays it off to Loftus-Cheek. Early ball from Loftus-Cheek. Chukwueze right-hand side. Milan once again are threatening. Chukwueze with the cross. Three-header for Leao. Sheds it towards Giroud. He went for the acrobatics. Didn't make the connection. Fell to the floor. Coming in behind was Chukwueze, who turns it behind.
It's not the first time it's happened in a game that there's been an overload in this left-hand side. They go down the right. Well done, Chukwueze. He gets the ball into the right area. He knows where to put it. It's up to the likes of Leao to go and attack that area. Certainly you've got Trippier there. He's not the tallest fullback, is he? And there is a little bit of a better chance there for Leao, and he's just got underneath the ball. Don't think that was a foul on Giroud there. I think he just got beyond the ball. You'd get another little chance to see it. No foul there.
Up until last year, I hadn't been to San Siro for about 16 years. This is my 5th visit in less than 12 months, but this is the best that I've seen Milan play live. Against Chelsea here in San Siro, against Tottenham, even though they beat Spurs by a 0-0, and in the 2 semi-finals against Inter. As Trippier rolls it in towards Longstaff. Gordon with a cutback, first time shot, that was blocked. Chukwueze brings it away, and then he lifts it up towards Leao. Botman lets the ball bounce, and then he hooks it. And it was a vital touch there by Botman, because otherwise Leao's away and Burns exposed, dealing with Giroud.
He had to get that right, didn't he? I mean, he's really stretched that. It's one of those ones that I think he got himself slightly off balance, and the way he stretched, I thought, is your hamstring going to be okay, mate? It's one of those strange ones where you get your body in the wrong position. I think he might have even got a little bit of a fright with that one.
Trippier switches play from fullback to fullback. Byrne marauding forward on that left-hand side. Krunic on the half volley clears it away on the edge of the Milan penalty area, and we're still at 0-0 with about 6 minutes to go to half-time here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Guimaraes gets away from Loftus-Cheek, who again pulls him to the ground, and the referee gives the free kick and again takes no action, and in fact has a word with Gordon, who obviously tries to speak out of turn.
He's lost his cards, hasn't he? He forgot them. He left them in the dressing room. It's one of those ones where a number of players, both in black and white and in red and black stripes, have actually had a number of fouls in a row, and you just think, come on, referee, at least have a word. It's just, I mean, I'm not complaining about it too much, because it's, you know, if that's going to be a way, and as long as you're the same for both teams, they can get on with it.
But as you've already mentioned, Pat, there are occasions where we'd have seen at least a yellow card in a Premier League game by now.
Definitely.
A red flare has been let off in the middle tier over on the far side, so there's about 12 supporters. We're just seeing the silhouette of them as that flare burns at their feet. As here is Longstaff towards Cher. Cher now on a diagonal towards Byrne. Downward header. Isak side onto goal. Now with his back to goal inside the penalty area. Falls to the floor. Krunic puts the ball out of play for a throw. He now speaks to the referee. Calabria speaks out of turn, and for dissent is shown a yellow card.
I don't think the referee could ignore that one, because Calabria's got right in his face. To be fair, he's right. He should have had a free kick, but it doesn't matter. You can't stand in the referee's face these days and shout and ball at him. And the referee had no choice. I think he wanted a choice, but he didn't have one.
Yeah, he was clearly challenging the referee, as you say, by standing so close towards him. Here is Trippier, plays it down the line. Longstaff makes that breaking run through from midfield, right-hand side. Toe ends the ball to Isak outside the area. Murphy on the inside. Murphy goes for the curling effort. Left-footed, off target, goal kick, but certainly probably Newcastle's best opportunity.
Yeah, they've had a couple of little breaks of late. Certainly Longstaff's energy has been brilliant. I mean, he keeps on getting into the area, going beyond the wide player Murphy, running into what would be called the inside forward area in the past, and he's getting into, you know, dangerous areas that their centre backs don't want him in. I think that's certainly something Eddie Howe's worked on, and he feels there is a little bit of a gap there. So far, it hasn't led to a clear-cut chance of a real shot on target.
Maignan, the keeper for Milan, had just tried a flat ball right through the middle, something that sometimes we've seen for Edison at Manchester City, but one bounce and it was straight through to Nick Pope. Incidentally, on 5 Live the next 2 weeks, Champions League, Premier League, Rugby Union World Cup, Solheim Cup, which starts this week, then we've got the Ryder Cup the following week. Another example why 5 Live is the home of live sport. We've got about 3 and a bit minutes remaining of this first half, and the referee wants the free kick for Newcastle taken back because the ball was moving 0-0.
I think there might even be an England v Scotland women's game coming up.
There is that, yes, in the Nations League on Friday.
Exactly.
Yeah. I won't mention
You're good.
what happened
He
at
said
Hampden.
quickly.
We try to maintain relations here in Italy. And especially if Kelly's listening as well, although she is 11% English. Careful. Here is Giroud. Long-standing gag. Back from Calabria to Maignan. And you can hear the Newcastle supporters, strains of those 7,000 supporters high up in the gods singing. Travelled in their thousands here to witness this occasion for Newcastle United to be back in Europe's elite competition against the 7-time winners of the European Cup, and indeed their first Euro success was at Wembley in 1963, the venue for the final this season. The other thing to say as well, it's the final year of the current format of the top 2 going through, because next season 32 teams will increase to 36, and we'll have that Swiss league system. It'll be all change for the Champions League as far as we know it. But as we approach half-time here on BBC Radio 5 Live, it is still 0-0. Here is Leao, caught offside, and that will be a free kick, which is taken quickly by Longstaff to Trippier. Eddie Howe in his black tracksuit down below patrols his expansive technical area. Guimaraes lays it off to Trippier. And Trippier now at a walking pace inside towards Cher. Gordon's high up over on that far side, the left. Isak remains central. Murphy now moves into a central area as well. Tonali's looking to try and make the run. Krunic didn't pass him off as Chow stepped out of defence to follow Isak. And then the ball from Verne looked a rather tired one. Newcastle at the minute just not clicking at all.
No, they aren't, and there's not been a great understanding on that left-hand side between Byrne and Gordon. If you're a winger, and Gordon certainly is playing as a wide winger for most of tonight, you do need to get some service. Like, a lot of the time it's going to come to your fullback. No great understanding with them so far. I watched Newcastle at the weekend, and I did think it was a brilliant understanding with Anderson and Barnes over on that left-hand side, but neither player playing tonight.
Who knows, in the future they could be 2 future Scottish internationals with their international futures up for debate, as Maignan to Chow. I would imagine that Lady Kelly probably ignored that earlier jive anyway. I mean,
You're hoping so.
Why change the habit of a lifetime, Kelly? Here is Maignan, chips it long. Flicked on by Pobega, taken to the feet of Leao inside the centre circle. Now he runs forward over the halfway line. He's got Loftus-Cheek to his right, Pobega to his left. Here is the Italian international. Little touch towards Hernandez, left corner of the box, onto his right foot. Longstaff makes a challenge. He's going to break out towards Calabria. He's a long way out from goal. Along the ground, passes the ball to Chukwueze. Right corner of the box now. Chukwueze can't deliver. He's got to try and get past Gordon. Tries to run him. And then coming back there was Byrne, who clears it out of play for a throw, and we are about to find out how much added on time there will be, and in fact the answer is 0. There is no additional minute, because there is indeed the half-time whistle. A half that Milan has certainly had the better of the opportunities, and Nick Pope has come to Newcastle's rescue on a number of occasions.
It has, and if you look at the entire 5 minutes, you would say the vast percentage of it has been good play by Milan. They've created chances, they've got any good possessions. Newcastle have defended fairly well. The keeper has been absolutely brilliant, best player playing for Newcastle today. However, looking at it going forward, Eddie will get them in there and say, look, you're always going to put a bit of pressure away from home in the Champions League. You're 0-0, they've not got past you yet, but you've got to try and get some control in that midfield. And Tonali, Gamari, still less than 10 Longstaff, got to get control of that ball a little bit more than they have done. I suspect a little change at half time, a wee bit more energy. Maybe Wilson for Isaac up front, that he might hold up the ball a bit, but we'll see what Eddie Howe thinks.
So half time in Stadio San Siro, it's AC Milan 0, Newcastle United 0. Thanks, Kelly. Newcastle United are not going to make a change at the start of the second half. I think Milan, though, no, they're not going to make a double change. I thought they were. I was just watching Stefano Pioli, their bald-headed coach, just having a word with Christian Pulisic and the Dutch international as well, Tijani Reinders. But the other in fact, they are going to make a change. Florenzi's going to be replacing Calabria. Now, he was booked in the first half, but clearly with the long talking to that Pioli's just given to the other two would suggest at some stage they're going to be coming on, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, and you just wonder about Calabria. He definitely didn't have the pace to stay with Gordon. Now, it didn't trouble him too much because the ball wasn't given out to Gordon too much. So you just looked at it and think, if you get somebody else with a little bit more pace, because if he finds himself one-on-one, Calabria, even though he's the captain, isn't he? Even though he is, you need to be able to stay with your winger. So made that change, and Gordon will get a little bit of lift from that.
I'll run through the two teams for you. So Newcastle United are unchanged. Pope in goal, Trippier, Botman, Schär and Byrne as the second half is underway with Milan restarting it. Midfield three of Longstaff, Tonali, Guimaraes and a front three of Murphy, Isak and Gordon. Now Milan, Newcastle United incidentally, black and white striped shirts, white shorts as Pope comes out of his penalty area and heads it out of play. Chukwueze wants to take it quickly as it's thrown back to him from the ball boy. It hits the back of the assistant referee on his head, and he was unable to take it quickly. For Milan, in their red and black striped shirts and black shorts, they have Maignan in goal. Now Alessandro Florenzi, Italian international, 49 caps, vastly experienced. He's at right back now. Tomori and Chow are the two central defenders. Hernandez is the left back. Midfield of Loftus-Cheek, Krunic and Pobega, Chukwueze, Giroud and Leao are the front three, as the middle tier away towards our right hand side. They've got the gigantic flags. There must be at least 20 of them, the red, the white and the black. Little hint of yellow and green thrown in there too, which are flying from the Curva Sud, where the ultras are housed, many of them either bare-chested or decked in black, as is Pat Nevin. Not quite full Stadio San Siro. They were expecting a crowd of around 65,000 for tonight. 7,000 at least have travelled from Newcastle. Here is Trippier far side the right. Newcastle now with Murphy ahead of him. Stops, sends over the cross, headed away by Chow, headed further clear by Hernandez. Little flick header by Loftus-Cheek's going to run into the midfield area. And it's a challenge from Schär on Leao, picked up by Gordon to Tonali with a right-footed shot, strikes the back of Chow. There are a few whistles for the former Milan player, playing against the team, of course, he supported, the team where he said in his own words, made my dreams come true. He's a professional, out to do his best for Newcastle United, and whilst he got a great ovation ahead of the game, he was being booed there or whistled by the supporters who used to adore him. And Newcastle United appear to have made a confident start in the second half, Pat Nevin.
Yes, trying to see if they've changed anything. Nothing much in terms of style. But, a couple of the midfielders got on the ball a little bit more. Tonali's been more tenacious, which is what we want them to do. And they have to keep that up, because that's a decent start in the first few minutes of the second half.
Isak lays it off to Tonali. Byrne. The whistles are because Newcastle United are keeping the ball, seeing better possession than they did for large periods of the first half. 0-0. live on 5 Live, BBC Sounds and Radio Newcastle also taking our coverage here from San Siro as Gordon, from that pass from Trippier, couldn't take it into his stride on the right corner of the penalty area, and it runs through and out for a goal kick.
I can see what he's trying to do there, Gordon. He's switched, he's gone in a little bit more central, he's actually gone wider. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing he's a little bit wider now and again, but it was a little bit too much in a hurry. Just get the ball under control and then think about what you're going to do. You're in the opposition box anyway, so I think he'll be furious with himself because he's got very few decent balls and pieces of possession inside that final third. But I was going to say he's got it now, but he hasn't. The referee is calmed out, somewhat surprisingly.
Yeah, and it's going to be Cher who's going to get the yellow card. Now, he's gone in for a challenge, an aerial challenge with Pabega. Cher is currently lying with his on the ground, flat on his back, but when he actually sits up, the Spanish referee, Jose Maria Sanchez, is going to show him a yellow card.
I think you're right, because I think Cher has actually led with his left elbow there. I think the referee's got that one right.
Let's get the City team news from the Etihad with Alistair Bruce-Ball.
Yes, European champions Manchester City. 3 changes for them from the 3-1 win at West Ham on Saturday. Out go Akanji, Gvardiol and Jeremy Doku. They're all on the bench. Nathan Ake comes in. Sergio Gomez comes in at left back, a first start of the season for him. And Mateus Nunes makes a first start for Manchester City.
Thank you, Ali. Chris Sutton with Ali at the Etihad. Commentary from 8 o'clock. Tomorrow we're in Munich for Bayern against Manchester United. So still 2 more games on this opening match day 1. As the cross is volleyed in from the right hand side, cleared by Newcastle, touched away by Murphy inside the D of his own penalty area. Chukwueze's downward header is going to fall to the feet of Longstaff, who tries to shrug off Pabega. Pabega brings him down, and that will be a free kick to Newcastle. You can see why Pabega's been brought back into the side. He has made a difference in the midfield.
He's made them a little bit harder to get by. You know, he's not a pleasant player to play against. If you go by him, you're not going to stay beyond him because he'll bring you down and he'll get in between you. Good physicality to him, and he has done a good steady job in there.
Cher carries the ball a long way. Pabega again makes that sliding challenge. He joined the club in 2018, but 4 loan spells away from Milan. Only made his debut actually last season, the 24-year-old Italian international, but providing plenty of energy in the Milan midfield. We've been playing for 5 minutes into this second half on BBC Radio 5 Live. Milan 0, Newcastle United 0, and those clear blue skies have made way for complete and utter darkness now here for this early evening kick-off, but it still remains extremely humid inside San Siro as Gordon to Murphy. On the overlap is Trippier. Murphy doesn't use him, and instead, and in fact Trippier says, why didn't you use me, as he unleashes an effort from long range that never troubled Mike Maignan.
Well, not only Trippier, he's absolutely spot on, that was obvious ball to play there, but inside him, you know, Longstaff is flowing up the park as quickly as he possibly could. He's gone inside, there are lots of options there, and he's just blasted it from an area where you really ought not to be able to score, because not only is it 25 yards, it's a pretty sweet angle as well. By the way, we were talking at half time there was that little shove that we saw earlier in the game on Longstaff, and it was very Leal. Having watched it again at half time a couple of times, had that been Premier League, I think we would have looked at VAR and given a penalty.
Well, we'll get the thoughts of Eddie Howe post-match, the reaction, if we will be unable to bring it to you, I'd have thought, before the 8 o'clock kick-off, so if it's not at half-time in that game at the Etihad that follows this, that pass from Tamori gave a minor scare towards Maignan. It'll be in the 5 Live Football Daily podcast, and don't forget as well, the Rugby Union podcast, available each and every day as we bring you every game live in the Rugby Union World Cup. For instance, Italy-Uruguay tomorrow at 4:45, available online. Here, though, is Florenzi for Milan. Florenzi shoots, and Florenzi shoots wide, left-footed, edge of the D, dragged it off target in front of the Curva Sud Milano Ultras, and that will be a goal kick as they continue to generate the noise, goalless.
Do you know what, Florenzi? He's been having a wee look at John Stones, hasn't he, for Manchester City? It was the most obvious version of that full-back, right full-back, running into the midfield, getting that extra space there, no one covering him, and he ended up getting 30 yards of space and ran all the way to the 18-yard line and had a shot and goal. Really good technique, and you could see exactly what his man just told him to do.
It's a throw that Tomori will take. He missed the 5-1 defeat against Inter, sent off against Roma early in the season, so he was suspended, the England international. Here is Chow, the German international, just 2 caps, made his debut against Poland and then Colombia in June for Germany as Tomori. Been relatively untroubled so far tonight towards Leao, who really should have scored. He went past 3 men in the first half, and then when he's backheeled the ball, and it was shown about 4 or 5 times on the giant screen here during the break, wasn't it? Much to the dismay of the Milan supporters.
You know, the wonderful thing is he had the layoff in the centre circle. It developed that move. Then he sat 3 players down on the backsides. But we don't remember any of that, do we? We remember the attempted backheel where he completely air-shotted it and kicked the ground instead, and it did look, I must admit, a bit ridiculous.
Indeed, you forget that, the Guimaraes goal line clearance, as you say. Signed a new 5-year deal back in May. His buyout now is a staggering and eye-watering figure. 175 million euros is his reported buyout clause for Rafael Leao, who for a long time had been linked with Chelsea. Trippier, forward. Longstaff lays it out. Referee plays the advantage. Murphy now delivers the cross. Flying safe forward by Maignan, punches the ball away. Chukwueze, nice touch to bring the ball under control. Gordon back at him, surrounded by Guimaraes and Tonali. A little bit more intensity there from Newcastle, applauded by Eddie Howe. It's a throw to Milan at 0-0.
Right, I'm not saying Milan have run out of gas, but they're certainly not as intense as they were in the first half, are they? Lots of gas beginning to open up now, particularly on the right hand side down there. Murphy's getting in a pretty easy space. There's no way Leao's going to bowl or chasing back after Trippier, so Trippier can run off him all night long. So at this point in time, at the start of the second half, things are definitely looking up for Newcastle just now.
Florenzi, challenged by Tonali, he's hit that high in the air, brought under control by Leao, lays it off to Hernandez. He now leaves it for Leao, 10 yards inside the Newcastle half. Krunic just left of the centre circle to Florenzi. Pat was saying, playing in that inverted role, the right back. Here now is Chukwueze, touches it past Byrne, Loftus Cheeks ahead of him, fouled by Tonali. That'll be a free kick to Milan. In front of the patrolling Stefano Pioli. Zlatan Ibrahimovic was actually at the training centre in the build-up of this game. As Chukwueze fouled by Tonali, might be a yellow card. Former Milan player. No, again, leniency from the referee, but it's a free kick to Milan in a very dangerous position.
I have to say that's poor from Tonali. He had about, I would say, 10 seconds to get behind the ball. There was a free kick given, and he waited and he waited and he waited, and then reacted after, honestly, it's about 10 seconds, chased the short free kick and was taken in. He's behind the player, that's why he has to give away the free kick in a very dangerous position. To have saved all that, he's done the right thing and just walk into the right position.
So it's a free kick. It must be about 12 yards up from the byline. It's right side of the penalty area for Milan. Still 0-0. Live on BBC Radio 5 Live. Krunic to take it. Right-footed. Delivers it. Headed out by Byrne. Picked up by Florenzi. Passes the ball to Hernandez. Hernandez looks to outrun Guimaraes. Guimaraes sticks with him. Hernandez then falls to the floor, and the referee gives the free kick. It was an exaggerated fall, but there must have been a connection. Guimaraes wanted to approach the referee, but he was pulled back by Trippier, the Newcastle captain.
Yeah, we're a distance away and the referee's very close, but to be fair, he looked as if he was looking for that all day long. I mean, it's a little bit of coming together. He stuck his backside into the player, Guimaraes, and then he's just thrown himself forward. That's very, very soft.
Hasn't changed much over the years, San Siro, but you can see why football fans just love this place, because it's at its atmospheric best, despite the fact that it's not even full. And the noise is stemming from the end where Milan are attacking away towards our right hand side. Free kick on the far side, the left. Fired in now. Byrne heads it away in front of Pope, who came out of his goal line, headed further away by Tonali, but Newcastle had every black and white striped shirt back behind the ball. Florenzi to Hernandez, and on the halfway line he will go back to Mike Maignan, as just Eddie Howe ushers his side downfield.
If I was Milan just now, I'd be wanting to make more changes. They do, I mean, they look as if I've run out of gas, to be honest. Now, it may well be taking a little bit of a rest. I mean, Newcastle are always going to get a part of the game at some point. But the gaps between the players now, they're trying to close down. They're totally different from the first half. And if I was the Milan coach, I'd be saying, no, we need a little bit more legs in there. And I suspect he'll make a change fairly soon, 5-10 minutes.
I would imagine that Kieran Trippier is speaking Spanish to the referee there from his time at Atletico Madrid, because Murphy's just tried to roll his man Tomori. Tomori's brought him down, and Trippier's saying, come on ref, give us the free kick, give us a yellow card. They get the free kick, but again no action taken from the Spanish referee. Still 0-0. Here is Isak, tightly marked by Chow. Comes off Isak, and it will be a Milan throw on that far side. We're approaching the hour mark. Tomori, little slip by Giroud as he's tried to make that run off Botman. He's currently occupying a position between the two central defenders as they play the ball at the back. Do Milan. Now it's with Chow, lifts it into the air. Hernandez brings it under control, couple of touches off his left boot, plays it along the ground, laid off by Pobega to Leao, 10 yards inside the Newcastle half, still on that left touch line, plays the ball in field. Krunic now will spray it out towards the right. Chukwueze keeps it in play, up against Byrne, running at him. Chukwueze cutting inside now, edge of the area. Chukwueze to Krunic, lifts it into the air, groans from the Milan crowd, headed away by Byrne, hooked away further by Gordon for Newcastle, off the chest by Chow. Milan have it back. Chukwueze, good feet in the inside of Gordon, tries to get away from Tonali, plays a square pass. Hernandez midway through the Newcastle half, he goes back, they're going to go back out towards the right. No, Krunic will go through the middle, and then Loftus-Cheek lost the ball, and now maybe Newcastle United can break, and it's with Gordon. Isak, he made the run, then curbed the run, and at that point Gordon passes the ball forward, and that allows Tomori in that precise moment to easily deal with the threat.
It's a real shit. You're absolutely right. He checked just a little bit as if he was going to go inside, and they're looking at each other. It's one of those ones, it can just happen. You look for your mate to make a run, and you're waiting for him to check, he doesn't, then he does, and he does just as the ball is your foot. It's terrible.
Trippier, excellent challenge before Pobega to get it forward. Back heel from Murphy to Longstaff. At the halfway line now, Trippier is back onto his feet and running forward. He's been superb tonight, Trippier. The birthday boy, here he is as well, 33 years young. Inside now to Guimaraes. Newcastle growing in confidence, are they? Guimaraes towards Tonali. Flag had stayed down. No, now the flag is raised. If Newcastle United could get a point here in San Siro before Paris Saint-Germain come to Tyneside on the 4th of October, the atmosphere will be electric at St James's Park. I remember I was covering Newcastle for Radio Newcastle in 97-98, and I remember after Dinamo Zagreb in the playoff, they opened up with that famous 3-2 win under Kenny Dalglish, an unforgettable night with Tino Aspria's hat-trick. It was a euphoric night. Newcastle United, if they can get a point here, gives them something to build on, doesn't it, going into that game against Paris Saint-Germain?
We've got another couple of questions. Obviously, two substitutions being made. Exactly what I was thinking. They had to do it quickly because the gaps were getting very, very big. Must be slightly disappointing for Chukwueze. I think he played exceptionally well. He's come off. Pulisic has come on as a direct replacement for him, but as I say, Pulisic has had a good start to the season for Milan, but I think Newcastle were growing into the game, getting a lot more space in the midfield, and they were beginning to enjoy the game. And I think the other one is a grinder for Pobega.
It is, yeah. It's the change that we'd said that was in the offing from half-time from Pioli, so it's a planned change, and here is Pulisic on this right-hand side, the former Chelsea man. Pulisic, right-hand side, delivers a left-footed cross, too deep, so he has come on for Samu Chukwueze, so the Nigerian makes way for the Pulisic, who actually captained the United States in the internationals, the recent internationals, and Tijani Reinders has come on to replace Pobega in the midfield. Newcastle now are going to make a change, and it's going to be Jacob Murphy. Rather surprise starter tonight, only 4 minutes in that opening day as a substitute against Aston Villa. So Murphy is going to be coming off, Almiron is going to be coming on, and in fact Callum Wilson is going to be coming on as well to replace Alexander Isak. So a double change being made by Eddie Howe for Newcastle United. How much of a difference do you think that Callum Wilson will make for Newcastle?
I think it's needed them. Isak, we know how good a player he's been. Isak's going to go and play in the left wing now. I said that to you at the start of the game, didn't I? Yes. I felt I wanted to see him more as a wide player. He doesn't want to play there. I think he's better there. To get Wilson up front, Isak either right or left, I don't think it matters greatly. And then you've got another threat from both sides, but it's about getting him on the ball. But yeah, I don't think that weakens him in any way. But Gordon, as ever, is the one who's going to be substituted.
Well, you think about Nick Pope, who made 5 excellent saves in the first half. It's been a relatively untroubled 18-minute period in this second half here on BBC Radio 5 Live, as Milan with Tomori building from the back, and now it's picked up by Reinders, who comes forward, and Reinders keeps his balance, and Reinders gets the shot away, and there is Pope brought into action and makes the save.
Big difference you can make when you make the substitution. Just a lively player, picks up an unusual position, just walks it straight through that Newcastle defence, and just get the ball there, Chippers away, and he just got a little bit too excited. You could see Leal coming in behind him, lost control of it when Newcastle were in a great position to break.
They've only started 4 games together in the Premier League, but when that happens, Isak often goes to the left, and that's exactly what has happened here, with Wilson through the middle, Almiron now the right, Isak to the left-hand side, as Gordon and Murphy were the players to make way. Pat Nevin with us, the former Scottish international, here inside San Siro. The first of 2 Champions League commentaries for you on this opening match day 1. Manchester City Red Star Belgrade to come at 8, Bayern Munich Manchester United tomorrow. Friday we've got the Solheim Cup, that's on Sports Extra at 2. The following week the Ryder Cup will be live on 5 Live, and this weekend in the Rugby Union World Cup, some terrific games for you. England, Chile, Ireland, South Africa on Saturday evening, Scotland, Tonga, and Wales, Australia on Sunday. Every game live throughout our various outlets, BBC Sounds Online, Sports Extra, or indeed 5 Live. But this is the Champions League, and it remains 0-0 as we approach the midway point of the second half. And Newcastle United, who kept only their 3rd clean sheet in 23 Premier League games at the weekend, looking to try and at least pick up a point here against Milan. But their supporters are bouncing in that middle tier away towards our right-hand side. They've offered so much vocal support as another flare, and now a St George's flag actually is being flown inside that Milan support. Great noise, isn't it?
It is, and they're trying to lift their team, and that's the end. Milan want to go and attack, but they've not attacked a great deal in the second half, you have to be honest about it. And Wilson's come on there, and he's just made a run into the wide area, dragged 2 players, got the ball further up the field. Really intelligent movement, really selfless movement, and it's what Newcastle have wanted. And the thing is, Eddie Howe knows this. Eddie now, he's now working for so long, he knows he's going to get that out of him. He might only get 25-30 minutes tonight out of him, but that might be enough.
Trippier to take the throw for Newcastle United. First time that Eddie Howe has ever attended a Champions League match, and there he is in the dugout for it. 10 years ago he was coming to the end of his Burnley reign as manager. They'd just lost at Leicester on this day 10 years ago, 2-1. Of course, he worked wonders at Bournemouth in the 2 spells. First took over almost 15 years ago at 31 years of age, replacing Jimmy Quinn, initially as a caretaker manager, and he now crouches down as he watches Almiron pick up the ball on that right hand side, but Tomori will use his strength to hold off Almiron as he safely marshals the ball out for a goal kick.
Tell you what, Tomori's been great, hasn't he? He's one of those defenders, he just loves marking. He just loves getting close to a player. He loves tackling. He's the kind of defender that, any manager would want in his team. But he can sometimes be a little bit roughhouse when he has to be, but I think he's been superb tonight.
He was sent off against Chelsea last season, wasn't he, in the Champions League? It was an unhappy return against his former club. Making a return today is Tonali, who bounces the ball down for Byrne as Newcastle prepare to take a throw on this near side. Newcastle playing from right to left. We're live on 5 Live. We're also available on BBC Radio Newcastle for our commentary tonight as Byrne Local lad, of course, with a long outstretched left leg, prods the ball out of play for a throw. Eddie Howe wanting Isak switched on to try and close down Krunic as he plays the ball back towards Chow, and Chow will clear. And Byrne and Botman almost got in each other's way. Longstaff was caught by Loftus-Cheek. The referee waves that away. Good header though from Botman, who was getting in a bit of a tangle with Giroud. Picked up now by Hernandez. Plays the ball forward towards Leao. Always a danger man when he picks up that ball. He can go missing, but he's always a threat with the ball at his feet. Now it's with Reinders. Hernandez. Midway through the second half, cross comes into the penalty area, easily dealt with by Pope, no threat.
And again, the one thing you have to admit to, it's not been the greatest quality in the second half. A lot of balls been given away, the passing's not as sharp. There actually does seem a feeling of not wanting to make the mistake. Maybe a little bit more from Newcastle players than you see them playing in the Premier League. There's a real confidence, belief, particularly when they're playing up at St James's Park. And tonight in the first half there wasn't that real belief, particularly when they're pushing it and passing it into the final third. The hope is that Eddie Howe can shout on them and tell them, look, believe in yourself, you've got it in your hands here, you've got a quarter of the game left, you've not created many chances, you might only need one.
A little bit of mist in the air away towards our right hand side, just hanging in the air underneath those striking red girders in the roof as Wilson is sent scampering away, but Chow will see it back to Maignan. Maignan, the French international goalkeeper, plays it forward. Krunic in that holding role in between the two central defenders. So much space for Krunic now to come forward, but he's faced by a trio of Guimaraes, Tonali and Isak, who passes the ball to Loftus-Cheek on the right hand side running forward. Loftus-Cheek touches the ball, passes fellow number 8 Tonali and delivers the cross, and it's saved diving forward inside his 6-yard area by the England international Nick Pope.
Not seen a great deal of Ruben Loftus-Cheek in this second half, but that time he tried to go forward and it looks like he might have picked up a little bit of an injury, which is a shame because he has had basically a career blighted by injury.
Here is Trippier, bit of space for him to run into. Almiron's made the run ahead of him, goes into the feet of Wilson, challenged from behind by Chow. No foul, says the referee, and instead it's Pobega. Sorry, not Pobega, Hernandez will bring it clear. Hernandez strong running. Midway through the Newcastle half, Hernandez winds one up, strikes the feet of Botman and then rebounds towards Longstaff. Do you think the game's becoming a little bit stretched now?
I think it's been stretched for 20 minutes, 15-20, just slowly but surely. When I was saying about the changes that must be made for Milan, that was the reason. They weren't getting close enough, they're just too tired. I mean, right now, Ruben Loftus-Cheek has gone down, as I suspected he might do there. Might give the players a little bit of a chance to get a little bit of water on, or some fluids on, which, considering we know it has been a really warm evening, they kind of deserve that. But yeah, it's stretched. Yeah, there's a lot of tired players there, but there's space now, and I think that should suit Newcastle, because the players that they've got in the midfield, good technical players, and they should be able to use that. So, and again, the other thing between now and the end of the game, using the extra substitutes they're going to use, that's big. And I think the look down there, another one may well be ready for Newcastle. I wonder if that's going to be Anderson who's next he's going to come on. We shall see in a moment.
Yeah, Newcastle are looking to make a change. Milan are going to make a change as well. Yunus Musa is going to be coming on. Now they see him as a bit of a replacement for Tonali eventually. He's only 20 years of age. He was at Arsenal's academy between 2012 and 2019 because he'd moved to England at the age of 9. Then he switched to Valencia at the age of 16. Just over 100 appearances, 32 caps for England's youth levels, various levels. And he's going to be coming on, and the player he is going to be replacing is indeed Ruben Loftus-Cheek. So Yunus Musa comes on. He's now an American international, 28 caps, likes to put himself a little bit about in the midfield. 11 yellows and 1 red card last season for Valencia, but Musa comes on, and you're right, coming forward for Newcastle United, their third substitution of the evening is Elliot Anderson. And listen to the ovation for Sandro Tonali. Some of the Milan supporters are rising to their feet as they wave farewell to the player that they used to adore here at San Siro. Sandro Tonali getting a lovely warm ovation from the Milan supporters. Elliot Anderson is on for Tonali.
Yeah, I mean, it's lovely to see that level of respect for somebody who cared about the club. Yeah, he didn't get stick, but there was a few whistles when he was on the ball a couple of times. But it was pretty half-hearted stuff, wasn't it? And that shows you what the vast majority of these fans actually think about him.
Well, his name was just being sung by the ultras away to the right-hand side. Key member of the side that won the title for Serie A in 2022. 130 appearances and 7 goals during his time, but just for the way that he played all action in the midfield, very much respected and revered in this part of the world. 0-0, BBC Radio 5 Live. We've got about 17 minutes remaining. Not much goalmouth activity in the second half. I still don't think that Maignan has had a shot to save the Milan keeper, but more crucially at the other end for Newcastle, Pope, who made 5 saves in the first half, has only had 1 to deal with so far in the second. So 73 minutes played 0-0. Here though is Florenzi coming forward. Musa's gone on ahead of him. Florenzi sends over a good cross. Leao with a header. It brushes the roof of the net and goes over and out for a goal kick. What a cross that was from Florenzi.
And he knew what he was doing. He knew who he was aiming for. Maybe a tiny bit behind him, but you're not going to complain about that. He has to be able to get that on target, and it's a diving header. Had it been on target, had it been a goal, it would have been absolute classic. It's taken all the energy I think Leao had left in his legs to get there. That was a great move on the right hand side, and certainly by some distance Milan's best moment of the second half.
Yes, it was. Here is Anderson back to Pope. Pope inside his penalty area. Giroud runs towards him. Cher passes the ball to Trippier. Trippier clears it downfield towards Wilson, dropping inside the Milan half. Almiron hits it forward. Elliot Anderson's after that. Tomori with a back pass though to Maignan. Wilson's there. He wants everybody to press. Almiron though is reluctant. And in the end it's Krunic who collects a diagonal ball in that holding midfield role, who's able to bring the ball forward here for Milan, and now towards Musa on this near side the right, and he runs forward. He's midway through the Newcastle half. He goes on the outside of Anderson and he's away from Elliot Anderson. Musa now plays it on the ground. Here is Pulisic in towards Giroud, hooks it goalwards. It might fall to Hernandez. What a challenge that was by Almiron. Just threw himself before Hernandez can make the connection and to concede the corner.
Yeah, and you can hear that crowd over the curve of Sud just now. They've been waiting for that the entirety of this second half. They've had one decent chance there from Leao. They've had another half chance then, and listen to them trying to draw that ball into the goal.
Deafening noise inside San Siro here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Milan have a corner kick. A quarter of an hour remains. It's still level at 0-0. In comes the corner, in towards the near post, headed out only as far as Pulisic, fired back in. Hernandez, he gets the shot away. That was blocked by Elliot Anderson, and it rebounds all the way inside the Milan half. 2 firm strikes, but Newcastle's defence holds firm. But the Milan supporters are trying to provide as much vocal encouragement as they can for this final 15 minutes.
Yeah, and you can see what they're all about. I mean, they can't keep that level up for long periods, Milan. They've not got the energy levels to do that, particularly in the second half. But there are, 1 or 2 or 3 minute periods where they just pour players forward, have shots on goal, try everything they possibly can. No work yet.
Here is Krunic. Musa inside the centre circle. Now Florenzi on the halfway line. Pulisic comes and makes a run infield. Byrne has tracked him all the way and continues to track him too as he wants the ball back to his feet. Krunic now towards Leao. Hernandez provides the width, but Almiron has dispossessed Leao, and Almiron's got to go it alone, and he's running forward. Tomori comes across. Almiron having his shirt pulled there, and then Tomori uses his strength and deals with it. Just didn't have the support, Almiron.
Did you really think he was going to beat Tomori there? I didn't. And it's nothing against Almiron, but Tomori, all the pace in the world there, and all the nous as well. And of course, to reach Tomori, Almiron had to run 50 yards anyway. Tough one for Almiron, but at least he's made an effort.
Milan have a throw on that far side, the left. Here is Reinders, the Dutch international. Musa miscontrols the ball under pressure, gets a shove in the back for his efforts too from Guimaraes. The referee though plays the advantage. Both fullbacks are pushed on. Tomori plays the ball square. Chow finds Florenzi, one of the fullbacks near side the right, crosses a deep one, swung over from the right. It'll reach Hernandez, the other fullback on that far side. Tries to get away from Trippier. It'll be a Milan throw deep inside the Newcastle half. In these last 13 minutes, it could be backs to the wall for Newcastle United. Hernandez waits, almost level with the penalty area.
They've got a slight problem, Newcastle. Isak's playing left, left wing almost. He's trying to get back and mark the player that he's supposed to be marking there, but he just keeps on letting him go. I don't think you can afford to do that away from home. That's a danger. I think Eddie Howe would rather have Harvey Barnes on there just now, particularly in a defensive sense.
Here is Reinders, once again on the ball over the halfway line. Leao's gone central at the minute. It's almost as if he's playing alongside Giroud, creating a bit of space for Hernandez, but they're attacking on the right. Here is Florenzi. Florenzi now sends over the cross. Leao is there. Hernandez meets it on the volley, couldn't get over it, and in the end he skied it, and it will be a goal kick.
That's exactly what I'm telling you about. Exactly 30 seconds before, there's a problem. He's not going back with the player that's with him, and he just gets across and that goes to the back post. If that ends in the back of the net, it's only for one reason. It's because Isak didn't follow his man back. It's not fun doing it. He clearly doesn't like doing it. He must be watching Leao over the other side, and Leao doesn't bother himself doing it either at any point in time. But you're away from home, Champions League and the San Siro, you've got to hurt yourself and do that, or else get someone else to do that work.
He's got a slight stoppage in play because Maignan, the Milan keeper, the French international, away towards our left, has gone down. He's sat down just outside the Davies penalty area, so there is a stoppage in play, at which point Eddie Howe is having a word with Isak, and it just seems to be the way that he's pointing down this right hand side. It's almost as if he's saying to Isak what you've been telling the listeners to Radio 5 and Radio Newcastle.
Yeah, and it's very, very, I mean, look, he's pointing, he's pointing back saying, they're just walking past you. You need to stop the crosses coming in, because if he doesn't stop the crosses coming in from the Milan right hand side, it means the left fullback has to come out, everyone shuffles over one, and you've got a free man at the back post, and that's all you do. You club it to the back post. Not complicated, it ain't rocket science. And he wants Isak on, because if you do get a chance, he is the man. If you've got him and Wilson both on, you have got a chance of scoring a goal. But you begin to think in Champions League, I know you've not been here before, Eddie, but no-no's no bad.
This is going to be the final opportunity to make a change, and thankfully they have still got that opportunity, because of the change that they actually made at half-time that still meant they've got the 3 opportunities for further substitutions in the second half. Now Mike Maignan, he missed the World Cup, he missed 23 games in total last season with a calf injury. I don't know whether it's a recurrence of that, but the keeper is coming off, and it means that coming on is
with a wonderfully named
Sportiello, who joined on a free from Atalanta to make his Milan debut. So Marco Sportiello is coming on, and Maignan has gone off, and Milan now have used every opportunity to make their changes in this first game of the Champions League. So Sportiello has got 10 minutes. I wonder if Newcastle United can try and test him in these 10 minutes, plus of course whatever's to be added on by our Spanish referee.
I don't want to sound harsh, but how has Maignan managed to injure himself? Because he hasn't had a save to make. He's not even had to kick the ball much. It must have been an underlying injury. It definitely must have been that.
So Sportiello is on, and Milan, with the game back underway, has give the ball away now, and it's Guimaraes for Newcastle United. Runs away from Musa, challenged by Musa, falls to the floor. Musa's going to get a yellow card. It's only the 3rd yellow card to be shown by the Spanish referee.
I think Guimaraes is delighted with that, because he didn't want to run 40 yards against a player younger than himself and running after having just come on 10 minutes ago. That was a silly free kick to give away. Gives Newcastle a chance to get a few players up. No doubt Dan Burn, yes, there he is, flying out the back, as well Shah as well.
So Newcastle United looking for a late goal here in San Siro. Trippier, the captain, to take it right of the centre circle. Milan have got everybody back, 9 players on the edge of their penalty area. Trippier now sends it over. Byrne tries to get on the head of it. He's looking for a corner, and he's complaining to the referee, and he's told in no uncertain terms to get back and stop complaining, and it'll be a goal kick to Milan. You think back to Newcastle United, the last time they were in the Champions League. This is only their third Champions League campaign. We talked before about that one, that memorable night under Kenny Dalglish in 97-98, 0-2-0-3. They actually progressed despite losing their opening 3 games. Atalanta, the only other side to have achieved that since. So that was some feat for Newcastle to be the first side. Musa delivers a cross, cleared away well by Botman on the edge of his 6-yard area, headed back by Florenzi. Giroud tries to get on the end of it, and the referee will give a free kick, and Giroud is shown a yellow card for that challenge on Sean Longstaff.
Again, another one that seems fairly harsh, considering the stuff that he's let go, the referee tonight. But obviously trying to make up for lost time in the first half when he wouldn't get his cards out. And Giroud unusually annoyed there, wasn't he? But he's calmed down again. I think it's a bit frustrating for Olivier Giroud. He's got very few options. I mean, he's actually caught him at the side of his shoulder area, but it's definitely not deliberate. It's an absolute... You have to raise yourself in some way, possibly, to go and attack the ball. He's tried to do that and got a yellow card for his trouble. It's unfair one.
They've never looked like winning it, Newcastle United, but to pick up a point would be indeed a precious one.
Yeah, I mean, very few, if any, chances in the entirety of the game, but that doesn't matter. You just need one.
They do, and they could still create that in the 6.5 minutes that remain. But Isak under pressure from Pulisic, and Pulisic has dispossessed him, and Pulisic coming forward and sliding across was Byrne, and he's done enough to have put off Pulisic, and despite the fact that Pulisic thought he'd got a corner, the Spanish referee has overruled it and said it's a goal kick.
Yeah, again, I'm with the Milan fans here. I don't see how that could possibly have been anything other than a corner kick. Another one that Newcastle have been a bit fortunate. Isak is losing the ball every time he gets it now, and I'm sure that Eddie Howe would love him off the field just now because he's tired. You know, he's not played all the games, but the fact that he played actually wasn't full 90 minutes at the weekend there. It doesn't look as if he's particularly happy playing in this left wing.
No, he doesn't. Newcastle supporters find their voices. For a moment it's quiet inside San Siro from the Italian supporters, so we can hear the Newcastle fans who've travelled in their hordes through various outlets across the different airports back in the UK to finally descend here in Milan. On Fashion Week, on the streets of Milan, there has been that monochrome look with the black and white hordes dominating the city streets. They'll celebrate the point. They'd love all 3, of course, but with 5 minutes remaining, that looks unlikely. Tomori toe ends the ball to Hernandez, far side the left, along the ground, almost runs through towards Reinders. Leao takes the opportunity instead. Guimaraes clears, only partially, as far as Krunic, who wins it back for Milan. Ball through the middle to Musa, 30 yards out from goal. Newcastle got everybody back bar Wilson. Reinders now out towards Florenzi. Florenzi sends over the cross right down the throat of Pope. Easily claims it, 0-0 still here on 5 line.
Yeah, again, but look at the ease in which he gets the cross in. Nowhere near him, and that's Isak. He just walks off him, gets the ball, puts it in at his ease and at his leisure. And this time Pope comes out, and I think every single Newcastle player and indeed fan was delighted. He didn't punch that one for once, he actually held it.
Sheffield United away on Sunday. Manchester City at home in the League Cup next Wednesday. That'll be live on 5 Live, incidentally, at St James's Park. Burnley at home are the fixtures before Paris Saint-Germain come to town in the next round of Champions League games. Florenzi running forward at pace, enters the penalty area. Pulisic, it now falls to Leao, might break back towards Pulisic. Good block coming in from Longstaff. Just wouldn't fall there for Milan. Isak in the central area is giving the ball away again. Hernandez plays it early into the penalty box on the cover, headed away by Byrne because Leao had stayed inside the penalty area. Now here is Anderson, lets it come across his body. We've got 3.5 minutes remaining. Half an opportunity that was for Milan.
It's good to see Anderson on the ball because he looks, if he wants it, he can hold it, he's strong enough. Really like to see him on this field just now for Newcastle because You know, you want somebody with energy, but also look at him, he's shouting at Isak. Actually, he's now shouting at Wilson, saying Isak's up the field, you need to go and do that job.
Yeah, Wilson's filling in for Isak, who at the minute is just trudging back in that central area. Looks a very, very jaded figure, does Alexander Isak.
I can't believe he's got substitutions left, hasn't he?
Yes, he has, yeah.
I'm amazed that he's not making that one.
Pulisic into the feet of Giroud, tries to lay it out to Musa, gets there because Anderson couldn't quite control the ball, as Musa now running away from Anderson, plays the ball back towards the halfway line. Just over 2 minutes of normal time remaining on BBC Radio 5 Live. Next commentary coming up at 8 o'clock as Anderson goes in for a 50-50 challenge with Krunic. Anderson wins the ball, releases Almiron. Almiron now coming forward towards Longstaff, enters the penalty area. Tomori goes with him and he crosses the ball and it's picked up by the goalkeeper Sportiello, who throws it out underarm. And now is Giroud, stumbles away from Guimaraes. He can't keep up Guimaraes for Giroud. Giroud's running away from Guimaraes to the edge of the area, and his right left-footed shot is saved by Pope.
There's so many things happening here. Now this is a stretch game we've got just now. End to end, there is no midfield. There's nobody there.
No, there's not. Pope with the throw out towards Trippier. And you've got 4 Milan players coming back, and then you've got 6 Newcastle players against the 6 Milan defenders as Trippier in a central area. And we're now inside the last 90 seconds, and Byrne gives the ball away.
It was a real shame there, because Almiron had the ball, and he had, I think it was Longstaff, who'd overlapped on the right-hand side, but he slipped the ball too early. He had to try at some point and draw. If he could have drawn Tomori a little bit more, I think he would have been in for a shot from that right-hand side for Longstaff, but he played it too early, and the chance was missed.
Newcastle have disappointed in the final third. Krunic incidentally was just shown a yellow card by the referee, as now Krunic was fouled by Anderson, and by my watch we're entering the last 60 seconds of normal time. There's been a number of substitutions. We'll wait to see if the additional time is as lengthy as sometimes it is in the Premier League, as now here is Tomori running forward. 0-0 in the dying embers of this game here in San Siro. Florenzi on the right hand side, midway through the Newcastle half. Krunic, forward ball, little touch by Musa. Florenzi, Pulisic in the penalty area. Excellent play by Guimaraes, just because Pulisic had opened up for him and Guimaraes took it away.
He's done it again. Honestly, it's actually ridiculous now. He's just watches him, runs by him, they get a cross in. Honestly, it's not acceptable. You can't leave him on just now. If you lose a goal from the right hand side, Eddie, I'm afraid it's your... I'll stop now,
because Barnes is going to be coming on.
He's got to.
And this should be Isak. It is.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's one of those ones where you're 10 or 15 minutes there. I mean, I played that position often enough. I know if there's a problem there, you've got to do something about it. And it took a long time. I think Newcastle got a bit lucky. They got away with it and didn't lose a goal from that exact area.
5 minutes of added on time, which we're now into. Harvey Barnes is coming on for Isak, so we're entering that 5 minutes, a minimum of 5 minutes here on 5 Live and Radio Newcastle. Milan have got a throw on the right hand side. Barnes is quickly back into defensive position. He's going to pick up Florenzi. Musa, the American international, waits to take the throw. It's still 0-0, and it comes now from Musa. Long looping throw aimed towards Giroud, surrounded by black and white shirts. It comes off the head of Cher, and it will be a Milan corner kick on the right hand side.
It's the last thing they wanted just now, and it's the first thing. And those fans there behind the goal, there's so many of them there, they're going to make so much noise if they manage to win this game in injury time.
Pulisic waits to take the corner. On the right should be an outswinger, indeed it is, and it comes now right footed. Barnes controls it, no, it runs away from his right foot actually towards Hernandez, who plays the ball back, keeps it in play. Reinders under pressure there from Wilson, chasing after him with lots of energy. Florenzi forward, now it's with Reinders, 30 yards out from goal. Thought he was going to shoot then, now he does shoot, and it's over the top of the crossbar. Can I ask you a question? Because Milan put Newcastle under all sorts of pressure first half, and Pope made 5 saves. Why have Milan not been able to replicate that the second half, given the fact that with Isak not coming back, they've looked vulnerable down this near side?
Because they play in Serie A and Newcastle play in the Premier League. I think that's the difference, because the Premier League is such in high intensity, and you do watch Serie A, not every team and all the time, but as a general rule, it's not at that intensity, it's not at that speed for an entirety of game. It's a weird thing about the Premier League, there's nothing else like it. You keep on going and keep on going, and if it doesn't matter if it's 100 minutes, as we found at the weekend, the players are almost always able to keep it going. You've watched Milan over the years, they've not been able to do that. They take it in spurts, and that's what they've done tonight.
Number of empty seats in the bottom tier of the San Siro on that far side. Newcastle supporters who may well be kept back for a period of time high up in the gods away towards our left, hoping that Newcastle can conjure up something. The Milan keeper, whether it be Mignon or Sportiello, his replacement, yet to make a save throughout the evening. Free kick for Newcastle, taken short on the edge of the centre circle. Trippier now lifts it into the penalty box. Shaw heads it away. Pulisic tries to head it clear away by Guimaraes. He chases after it himself, and then he's away from Longstaff. And he's now helped out by Musa coming forward, and Kieran Trippier, who's been absolutely outstanding for Newcastle United tonight, comes across into a left-back area to curb the run of Musa. He has been terrific, Kieran Trippier.
Yeah, and he sees the danger there time and again, but his teammates aren't up to that standard. He was calm when he come over. However, they've lost the ball. It's down on that right-hand side again. Another chance to cross, but Pope's got it.
By my watch, we've got 2 minutes remaining. The flags are back flying in that middle tier away towards our right-hand side. And Nick Pope.
Yeah, just try to kill it a little bit now. They don't feel as if they can win it. Yeah, they don't feel as if they can win it. A number of players out there getting tired. Certainly Guimaraes, he looks as if he's running on complete empty at the moment.
Krunic goes back, cleared away by Sportiello, headed back there by Guimaraes. Almiron then hooks it downfield, but Wilson was coming back from an offside position.
The ball's going out for a goal kick there, and how Newcastle would love it to be in a half a yard the other way, a throw in. They could have pushed up a little bit.
Almiron chases after Sportiello, the keeper clears it away after trying to play out from the back. Giroud with a little flick on, Byrne heads it forward, dug out well by Botman. Now to Anderson for Newcastle on the halfway line. Barnes plays it early, easily dealt with by Chow. Now across towards the left back, Hernandez. He's going to be closed down by Longstaff. Trippier is there. Trippier stops him. Referee lets play continue. Almiron comes forward. Trippier's going to go on the overlap. Almiron's continued to come forward. Might open up here for Almiron just outside the D. Now to Anderson. Anderson just outside the area. Here is Longstaff! Chipped over by the goalkeeper. What a chance that was, Newcastle. First time that the keeper, whether it be Mignon or Sportiello, has been forced into a save, and it's the substitute in the last 30 seconds who chips it over the crossbar for a corner. What a chance.
Yeah, he's not had anything to do, either goalkeeper, but this time it's on target. It would have been in just underneath the crossbar. The game's had to stop just now because there's an injury to a player. I'm guessing that's Teo Hernandez on the left hand side, just ahead of us there, but it completely opened up. Talking about the fact that the Serie A players and the Milan players in particular can't keep it going for this amount of time, well, that was obvious there. They just could not get back.
Sportiello with the crucial save. It was Hernandez who's hobbling to get back into position. By my watch, the 5 minutes are up, so this should be the last significant bit of the action here inside San Siro. Milan 0, Newcastle United 0. You can hear Newcastle voices high up away towards our left. Is there to be a dramatic finale to stun San Siro, for Trippier to take the corner kick on this near side, the left? That was the first effort on target for Newcastle United. Here is Trippier to take it. It's an in-swinging corner. Sportiello claws it away. And the referee,
he should be given a corner. He's given a goal kick. He's given a goal kick, and he's waiting for a little bit of help here. He's just going to finish it, I think.
Yeah, he is. There is the final whistle. Newcastle United were hoping for another corner kick, but the Spanish referee, Jose Maria Sanchez, says that is the final whistle. And so it is finished here in San Siro in the opening game for Newcastle's long-awaited return to Europe's elite competition. AC Milan 0, Newcastle United 0.